everybody. I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Goddess Thoughts here with me, your girl, the hitting lover, and none other than Chef Rose Black. And you know we're doing podcasting Tuesdays, every Tuesday here at the Black Rose Lounge. How you feeling today?
I'm ecstatic. You know, we got a lot going on. You know, we ain't gonna mention our business on camera, y'all see, but it's just a lot, but it's exciting.
I got you. I know she got a lot of big things with me as well. And we're going to talk about some of the things that's going on here at the lounge at the end. Definitely tell y'all and let y'all tap in so y'all know more of the events we got going on and some of the news we can actually share. But other than that, I mean, I guess we're just going to kind of get into the topic today.
Let's go.
Because this was a difficult one, man. We were sitting here all day, like literally 3 minutes ago. I was like, anger, how to deal with anger. Because that's something that I'm dealing with right now, you know what I'm saying? I'm finding a different way to express my frustration, you know, when I don't want to speak anymore and not ball up my fist because I'm just ready to hit something. But I've learned that, but I'm still trying to find other ways and creative ways. And I know people say yoga don't work for me. Yoga ain't
I ain't never tried it. Never tried it.
I meditate. I walk in. I be kicking up bees and everything. I try everything not to put my fist to a wall. What about you? What's some of the things that maybe you tried or what?
I don't know, because you know what? I've always was an introvert, so I held a lot of stuff in. And then when I got angry, I'm fighting. So, you know, when I joined the military, it was like, you can't be doing that, you know. I think they sent me to anger management about 50,000 times. And they still didn't teach me nothing. At the end of the day, I really just had to sit and pray and say, you know what, I got to change because I'm going to hurt somebody or somebody's going to hurt me. But I got to be able to express myself more. I wasn't expressing myself enough. And people don't know when you holding that anger in, you get sick, your body break down, you stress. So I just had to become vocal. They may say she got a big mouth. It's the reason why I got a big mouth, because if not, you ain't gonna like me. And you probably be gone.
I feel you. You know, she really touched on a good point, and that's a lot of it do be that boiling point of not expressing yourself, and then it gets to the point where it explodes. And sometimes it explodes on the wrong person. You know, it don't always, or either the person get it, but they'll get 10 other people's frustration involved in. And it's like it was serious, but it wasn't that serious because not expressing it. I know that's one of the things when I was in therapy. That's one of the things I had to work on too, is learning to communicate. And that's one of the things I'm really just like really learning how to completely and utterly open up and say how I feel, you know what I'm saying? Because I always was like bumping. I just walk away and never say anything, but not realizing that stuff was building layers and layers and layers and layers. And now kind of unpeeling that later and doing all this shadow work and going inside and actually doing real healing work, memory come up, and it's like didn't realize how much anger, hurt still being there from little things, and how that compiles and how it moves into everyday situations. When you're dealing with that and it's something small that has nothing to do with it, but because you over here trying to process this, you just kind of all over the place. And I guess that's kind of where, trying to find different things. I mean, I just smash. That part.
But then it also goes back to hit Lovr, where when we're in a house and you're feeling lonely with a house full of people as a child, and then you feel like if I express my feelings, is anybody gonna pay attention? Because they so focused on everything else, but they not focused on your anger. So you're lashing out because you angry and you need somebody to vent to and talk to, and you can't. Especially in our community, half of the time they don't want to hear what we got to say. We children, stay in the child's place. It's okay. And then when you get in trouble, oh, what's wrong with you? What the hell are you going out there embarrassing me in front of these people and this and that? But not knowing that we got problems. And then it comes back, they can say what they want to say about Charlamagne the God, but when he's talking about this black therapy, like, I should have been in counseling long time ago. You know what I'm saying? When I really got in the military, it was like, I got to go talk to somebody. If not, I'm going to lose my career. I'm going to jail because I'm going to hurt somebody because I don't mess with nobody. And I'm such an introvert, but still vocal. But then it was like, man, if I do what I want to do, I'm going to jail. I'm going to lose my career. I'm going to lose everything that I work for because I don't know how to control my anger. So going to, like you said, going to therapy was the best thing I ever did. I'm still in therapy, and I don't care what nobody say. It ain't nothing to be embarrassed, but we was taught to hide our feelings, keep it in, unless it's somebody outside of the family. You know what I'm saying? And we shouldn't be taught that way. We have so many secrets in our community. Yeah, we have so many secrets because yeah.
And I agree. Like you said, so many secrets, and like I said, it was so taboo. And I do like the fact that today there's being more of a push, especially for not just for Black women, especially for Black men. You know, and like you say, Charlamagne is a big face of it, and a lot of other men, because it's something that if you need it, you need it. You know what I'm saying? We need help. If you're sick, you go to a doctor.
Right.
It's with your health, your mind is just as important as your physical body, as well as your spiritual work. You know, you go to a preacher or whoever your spiritual advice is, so you got to work on your mind just as much. And I agree, like a lot of things that most of us deal with in adults, it stems from the fact that we have blocked or we ignore, or we're told, like she said, to be quiet, shut up, or stay in a child's place, or keep it in house. You know, family don't talk about that, and it takes sometimes years,
nobody need to be knowing what's going on in this family and this and that, even if it's wrong. And that's not, you're not being fair. You know what I'm saying? Like we could even take it back further where we had to keep so many secrets. That's why we got different languages. That's why we got that. But we're not in them times anymore. We ain't at Master House no more. You know what I'm saying? We got to be able, and then you look at the news and say, why this guy did this? Why this girl did this? Because they have some mental issues. They don't know how to love. They don't know how to talk. They feel like love is abuse. So if they're fighting, they feel like that's love. They don't feel like there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing that, and my sister worked with juveniles. I work with juveniles. It's a lot of abuse going on in teen, like, we've never heard of that. Like, if you jumped on one of us, girl, the family coming, we coming. Now it's like these young kids, like, they strive for that. I want to fight. And it's more the women, young women, putting their hands on these young men. We wasn't taught like that.
And I was going to say, as you was talking about that, kind of going to some of the things we were talking about when we was coming up with, our topic is the change in culture today versus one or two generations back, and how that's like changing and affecting how we are dealing with ourselves and how we're dealing with each other, and how we're becoming, like you say, we're more violent. People don't even want to love. People not trying to love. There's more hate, like you say. Things that were just never heard of is happening younger and younger and younger.
Because it goes back to, I'm entitled. Even me dating you, I'm entitled. You're entitled to me, and you belong to me regardless. And you're 17, 16, 15 years old. Then all of a sudden, you're like, what? That boy really went and killed that girl. Or that girl killed that boy. Because they don't know what love is. That's that anger. So they searching for something, reaching for something. So the only thing that they know is violence. And there's nothing wrong with what they're thinking. They just have to rethink of how they want to live.
And express it in a different house.
Right.
You know, and then I mean it goes into too, like we was talking about last week about the millennials being that bridging that gap and trying to find ways to show the different generations. Like we have to show them how to love. Right. Because if nobody shows you, you out there lost trying to find yourself, and everybody don't find their way back.
But if you don't know, your parents don't know.
Hey, come on up and speak up. You ain't got to
everybody can speak.
Yeah. Speak up.
Just right here.
Yeah.
Come on.
But then it also goes back to the way they love. You know what I'm saying? They're a lot more sexually active, so their hormones, their feelings are more intact. We took a while to have sex. You know, we in our 40s and 50s. You know, man, you what? She got a bunch of brothers. I got a bunch of brothers. You got a bunch of brothers. They wasn't trying to. Nobody was trying to mess with us because they got to deal with them. So you know what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, it's like it's the sexual tension, So they feel like, oh, I'm so intimate with this person. You're mine. Nobody, I don't want nobody talking to you. That's why they pulling up to people's house. That's why they shooting up people's cars. I mean, I see. It is not. It's not. Because you feel like he could be dating you or have a baby by you, but then I start dating him. Oh, I don't want you in the picture no more. Not thinking of, this is this boy's baby mother. This is the mother of his children. But I don't care about all that because I don't want him over there with you. I don't want him with his kids. I don't want nothing. So I'm going to do something because I'm so angry. Because the littlest thing you can do, then it's like you're not giving me that love. You're not giving me that attention. What do you mean?
And first of all, I want to thank you for coming up. You want to go ahead and give them your name and then go ahead and voice your opinion.
Yeah, my name is Cortez, and the topic is anger. And I do think that we do not express our anger. A lot of people don't express their anger in the right way. But I'm just going to speak for black people. Going to therapy is a taboo. I know in my family, you go to therapy, they make it fun of you.
Right.
Is she crazy or something? No, it doesn't mean that you're crazy just because you're going to therapy. And most people that I talk to, because I do deal with juveniles and the whole family, sometimes I'm talking to the parents and I'm like, oh my God, they need therapy.
Right.
No wonder their kids have this misguided anger because they've never been taught how to deal with their stuff.
Right.
When I say their stuff, it's a lot of stuff.
Right.
And they don't mean to transfer it over to their children, but they do. And that's what I was saying when I was off camera about misguided anger. But most of the time, once they figure out what's going on with them, then they could be able to talk to their children, and then their children need to go to therapy. So that's what I was.
The whole family.
Right. Yeah, the whole family.
I like it. So what are some ways or maybe things that how you deal with anger, maybe that might be able to help someone else?
Well, I try to write,
That's a good
and I tell most people, do you have a journal? Write down what you want to write down. If it's something that you really, really want to do, but somebody probably told you you're not good enough, you can't do that, do it. And not to show anybody that you can do it and they're wrong, but do it for yourself. You have to do things for yourself before you could try to prove anything to anybody else. You need to do it for you without any strings attached. But how I deal with my anger is I write. I'm in the middle of writing a book now, so.
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna come back in a second to ask you about that book, but I want to kind of expand on what you were saying. Oh yeah, you up here now? No, I got you. Let's go, Ted. But now what you were saying, I think that's a good thing too, because like even if you use, like you say, you can use it as fuel, as that energy to channel it into something, even if a hobby or like you say a book, or even if it's not writing, a piece of art or some kind of gardening or something like that.
Yes.
And I didn't even think about like you can, or like say if you got a work project that you've been delaying, like use that fuel to put that energy into that, and sometimes that'll bring it down. I know one of the other things I had learned when I was up in Atlanta, actually when I got mad on set, I actually walked uphill. And me walking uphill calmed down because I couldn't. It literally brought my endorphins down because I had to focus on. I'm like, shoot, I'm tired. I can't even be mad because I'm tired. And I didn't even really pay attention to that. But walking uphill actually almost instantly brought the anger down because now I'm focused on.
But you had to discover that's what calms you down.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't really discover what brings them down, what calms them down. Like my grandmother gardened. She did, and when you said that, it brought me back to my grandmother. You knew my grandmother.
Right.
She would garden, and then when she moved into assisted living, and because she sold her house and everything, I'm like, Grandma, what are you doing out there? She had plants, but that is what calmed her, and that is what made her feel good. That's what made her not feel so lonely also. Because sometimes we feel lonely and we get angry about being lonely.
Right.
And that's another good point, and Chef, I'm gonna bring you in on that. Being lonely and it manifests in the anger, you know what I'm saying? I think that's something that people don't really realize that can be a part of a journey of when you apply yourself in that, it can manifest in frustration and anger. And I want to know your thoughts and kind of touch on that.
Because you take it back to like when we saying manifest our anger. I have to vent. I have to vent. And if I don't vent, then I'm not going to be good. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I have to just let it out, talk, and just let me vent. Even if you may not like what I'm saying, just let me vent. Once I vent, then that's calming me down because I don't got it off my chest. I'm not holding it in anymore. But to your question, I just feel like, let me see how I can put this. You have to have, like she said, the tools to really want to change. Because being lonely, I don't mind being alone, but I don't like being lonely.
Yeah, because there's two.
You know what I'm saying? It's two different things. So when you're lonely, you're thinking about, what did I do wrong? What was my fault? Even though it can never be you, but then you getting angry at yourself. Oh, they didn't want me because I'm this side. They didn't want me because I'm that side. So it's making you more angry. And then if you're not a strong enough person to sit back and say, let me pray and let God show me what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? And when you get to that, then when you come, you already got the God thing. When you come to that spirituality where you're like in tune with you, then you sit back and say, I'm good. Because y'all know that's my word. I'm good. I'm good. And when I'm good, I might be angry at that time. But when I say I'm good, just leave me alone and let me breathe.
That's a little trigger.
That's my little trigger. That's my trigger word. I'm good.
And she touched on that one end, but then there's also the other end of that lonely, two people who get to the point where they feel they're never going to be with somebody, and then they just go into this angry, kind of grumpy bitterness because they've given up. You know, there's also, kind of people in that end of the struggle.
And then they get in destructive relationships because they angry, but they just want to be with somebody, so they accept anything that gives them that little bit of attention, and then it gave you that false attention. Then you back angry again because this mug or chick crazy.
Yep, and now you're in this cycle.
Yep. So it's like, so you still with somebody. You still with somebody. You still angry. So what was the purpose? You could have just been angry by yourself, chill, drink, smoke, however you do.
Go to therapy.
Right, go to therapy. You know what I'm saying? with no interruptions. That's another thing too. That's why they said with you and a couple, and one is angry, you need to go to therapy. Both of y'all. Both of y'all, not one, just both.
And also too, and understanding that, like she was saying, the difference between being alone and being lonely, because there's nothing wrong with being alone. Alone allows you to see you for who you are. It allows you to cut out other voices. It allows you to actually, if you really want to work on you and actually see the things, so you can hold yourself accountable.
Right.
Being in the state of loneliness is like, say, an emotion, just like happiness or everything else, and it becomes a depression, and it can manifest in many different ways. And so if you are over in that area, that's definitely something, like you say, therapy, or either like get out, find a hobby, find a support group, or even if you just go go to open mics, like just get out and just find surrounding people that have something common interest. I think those will help more so for people who are feeling that loneliness, because once you kind of feel a togetherness or community of something, that tends to fill that void so that you can get out of that and actually start getting yourself back focused.
But one thing, like Cortez being done about like the writing, you know what I'm saying? Do what you love and don't, because sometimes that anger can make you more successful than you ever could be. Because when you got haters and you got people in your family, friends, your so-called friends or associates, oh, you can't do that. Why are you doing that? What's up with that? What? For me, that's my fuel. I ain't even gonna get angry.
You know what it reminded me of the movie The Five Heartbeats, when Doug said he became his greatest, he felt his greatest hurt, it was gonna turn him into the greatest, like it kind of felt like that anger turned him into the greatest writer.
Instead of taking your anger to the left where you're gonna be with JSO and federal prison, take your anger, but then you have to evaluate the situations that you put yourself in too. You know what I'm saying? Because we put ourselves in situations.
Everything ain't happened to us. Sometimes,
say it again.
Sometimes we do a lot and we contribute a lot. Like we had that gut feeling that told us to stay home, but we said we was going anyway. Or, you know, we was given a warning of stop talking to this person, to stop being here, or to do that, and I know them.
No, we want to rebel. We want to rebel against God.
Yeah, you know.
Because I know I'm his hard-headed child.
Yeah,
I know. I know.
I'm trying to get better.
Yeah, I know. I've been his hard-headed child. Sometimes I still am, but I'm like, ooh, Jesus, I know you told me not to be with this dude. You told me not to go back to him, but I'm like, boy, that heart speed stronger than the mind.
I mean, even in business, I've had so many don't do this still, did it anyway. Right. And then when it's like, don't be mad at nobody. You was warned. Yeah, you was warned. That was my choice. Yeah. You know? So sometimes stop that, just stepping up and realizing and stepping outside of yourself. Like I always say, look at stuff from a prism. Like it's 8 sides, like a real cube. Like when you step outside and start looking at it from different points of view, it starts changing your whole perspective. So now you can change your interior, so it can change your exterior.
And one thing that we have to realize also is accountability. Sometimes anger is misguided. I'm always gonna keep saying
right.
But sometimes when you're by yourself, when you are alone, not lonely, but alone, assess and process. Assess and process your day, your week, your month, situations, and that's something that I had to do, and it was kind of hard. Every now and then, I feel bad about something that I said or something that I did. And taking accountability within myself is not enough. You have to take accountability as far as going towards something that's positive. Right? And even if it is to go apologize to someone. Because sometimes you can be angry at yourself, but redirect it towards someone else because you don't want to take accountability for why you're angry. So you want to blame other people. Yeah. So you have to also take accountability. That's a part of anger because it takes two to tangle.
And that makes a good point because I know we had a conversation the other day and we talked about not going to bed mad. Said not nobody sleeping on no sofa, not nobody sleeping in the other bedroom. Now if you want to go in a car and clear your mind, listen to your music. I want to go watch my killing show to calm me down. You know what I'm saying? For my man and Fatal Attraction. I know that's my stuff. TV1 on point now. I'm sorry. It's a criminal justice major before I became a culinary major. So, you know, just to evaluate somebody else's feelings, like Cortez said. Like when you become a couple, or even in your friendships, in your intimate relationships, because people always think about couples. No, we are intimate. We are intimate with each other. We're sisters, so we have to evaluate. Me and this lady been friends for 30, going on 31 years. Yeah. We've had one disagreement where I got mad at her. Yeah, one disagreement.
It was horrible, but it was one.
You know what I'm saying? And it was just like 2 days. That's it. We ain't talking. But other than that, we agree to disagree. And if I'm wrong, she'll be like, Jack, come on now. Come on, think about it. Because she likes to
You like to analyze. But.
She's an analyzer. I'm going to go get her first. Then I'm going to analyze the situation. You're an analyzer, but on a spiritual level. So it's like I have a balance of two because we all street. We all hood. You know what I'm saying? Our hood just from
But
up
you want
north.
to tell you something. We're older.
Right, yeah.
So we kind of been around the block and we know ourselves.
Right.
One message I want to give to younger people, it's okay to make mistakes.
Right.
It's even okay to be angry about things.
Right.
But you have to learn from it.
Yeah.
You have to.
And that's facts. That's facts. I mean, she touched on that real. Because, like, say, at the end of the day, the only way to truly be successful, you have to fail. And that's failing in life, that's failing in business, that's failing in relationships, but it's not just failing, it's the lessons you learn that make those failures successful, because once you apply them in your life, like we always say, learning the lessons is the knowledge, applying it is the wisdom. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
You know, say that again.
said, basically, once you learn a lesson, that's knowledge, and once you apply the lesson, that's becoming wisdom. And that's using your wisdom and your wise.
Yes.
And that's what we need to do more.
Yes.
Right. Because it don't matter how old you are, but you got to be able to
I'm
channel
sorry,
that.
because I know some of the dumbest 60-year-olds I've ever met in my life.
72.
I mean, like, and I'm gonna be honest, not even that. I have some family members that are in their 80s and 90s, and I'm like, how are you still that bitter and mean and
angry,
mad and angry?
right.
Like,
Because they've never
you
went
know,
to
okay,
therapy.
yeah,
That
whatever.
part.
And that's the
And
some
then
of them are
they
really
anger
holding
with
on to
somebody
something
else.
from
It ain't even
something
about you.
From their 20s.
Same
Because
Like,
they
that
don't
part.
know themselves.
That part.
They don't understand themselves. If you ask a person, why are you so angry? Sometimes they'll tell you, I don't know.
they really don't,
I
because they've been
don't
there so
know.
long.
Mhm.
Right.
So long that they just wake up mad.
It's silly.
Yeah.
After a while, it becomes silly.
Yeah, but when it comes back to it, you have to, like Cortez said, talk, apologize. Because you should never do nothing in the heat of the moment. Because you're going to say stuff that you can't, words you cannot take back.
You remember
Yeah.
words.
They
Yes.
know the trick they always say, especially when you mad, 10 seconds. Give yourself 10 seconds. That 10 seconds can save so much.
You know what my husband said? Because I used to, in the beginning, I was like,
Right.
and now I'm quiet, and he's like, you all right, baby? He got this on the cheek. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm all right. But I said, I'm sorry, honey. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Because now I don't say anything. I understand me. I know who I am. Can nobody tell me who I am anymore? And if I'm angry about something, I know what to do but I take responsibility for my own anger also.
Because we still can go to 0 to 200 in a second.
Yeah.
But we don't want to be there.
Nobody, yeah, and,
We don't wanna be there.
and that's the thing. I think there's not a person in the world that doesn't have something that can make them amplify. But the thing is the process of when you feel that, regulating it in yourself to try to bring it back.
Bring it down.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
But it took some time.
Yeah.
It took some time for me.
And you know what? Something else you said earlier that I just thought about too. You were saying about the dumping at night. That's something I used to do and I haven't done it, and that reminded me like that hour, 2 hours, maybe 30 minutes, however it is before you at night. Once you get into bed, allowing your mind to release that. So now when you sleep, you can sleep more peaceful because your mind is not working through all the things you went through the day. Like you are actually having more peace because your mind has settled. It done settled everything it needed to settle. So now I can go to sleep. And now when you wake up, you working on the next day instead of still working.
Because you can't go to bed angry. Because you're not going to sleep. You're not sleeping. You may close your eyes, but you're not resting. Because that is still on your mind. You're not resting. And then you're like, what did I do? Like, why did I do that? Like, now I can't sleep. So then I'm going to be angry the next day.
You need to have a podcast on pride.
That part.
Oh, yeah.
Next time.
Next week.
Because when I say take accountability, sometimes you can take accountability, but that pride still kick in. Well, I know, but I'm not going to let them know.
Right. Oh, my God.
That
We had to talk about
pride
that
ain't
another
ego,
time.
boy.
Pride is something else.
Definitely.
Oh,
But yeah, and to kind of close it out, because we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Like we say, a lot of this came down to accountability, and sometimes it is, even if you was right in the argument, if you know you stepped out of line, sometimes it is to coming back around saying, hey, I was upset, but what I said or what I did wasn't right. And coming back. Because, like you said, that can also eat you up. Because you was right, but you also crossed the line. But you're trying to stay in your rightness. And like say, that's a part of releasing all that as well. And so I'm going to allow them to have a couple of, each have their final thoughts before I go ahead and round out another edition of Goddess Thoughts.
Well, thank you for inviting me on camera.
But one thing that I want to, and we can talk about this another day, compliment sandwiches, what we call compliment sandwiches. I was wrong, but you.
Right. That part.
You're apologizing, but now you're doing something that's going to make them forget about the apology.
Right.
So let's remember not to do the compliment sandwich. That means, this is what I did. I'm sorry about it. This is the part I played in it. I'm sorry. But you made me. Let's kind of try to not do that.
Right.
Oh, I like that. And is there anything you want to say, any shout outs, any business, any project, anything you want to share before I let you go ahead and let Chef talk?
Well,
That book that you try to
Oh,
try
the
to
book.
rush under
Well,
the-
it's something that calms me down, and it helps me to process things. But I'm one of them people that believe that you have to know your past in order to move on with your future. And right now, I'm doing the research on my grandmother, my great grandmother, and I know I can't. It stops because I can't go back to slavery. It stopped. It makes me feel sad about that part. But I am realizing so many things about myself and why I'm who I am. And I encourage you all to try to find out things that happened in your past. And even if it was something that wasn't good, like I learned things about my grandmother that wasn't good and is kind of hurtful to me, but I still need to know because I need to even process the pain she went through also. And the reason why I probably went to my mother, to me, that's why I feel the way I do. That's why I deal with things the way I do.
Right.
And I honestly believe that. So one day I just sat down and just started writing about people in my family, the things they go through, and also my friends, my sisters. Yeah, I do that, but it helps me.
Thank you for sharing that, and I appreciate that, Chef.
I think that once you come to terms, like all the conversations we had, is to remember about forgiving yourself. Because once you can forgive yourself, then you ain't gonna be angry no more. Because we as women take on so much responsibility, so much this and so much that. We gotta do this, we gotta handle this. And then like we're being older, we raised our brothers and sisters. So we gotta, once we come to terms to say, you know what, it's okay for you to love you. It's okay for you to go out here and have somebody love you. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be, quote, the bitter woman no more. Because it ain't just bitter black women, it's bitter women, period.
Right.
So once you come to terms to, like both of y'all said, is loving you, and I love the taking accountability. That is, ooh, Lord. I preach that to my kids in my class every day. Just take accountability of what you want to do in your life, but still understand you still have responsibilities. And if you with somebody, you have responsibility to make sure you hold yourself accountable with dealing with them. And they need to do the same. So you don't have a lot of anger issues because you don't want to keep being angry. Anger gets you nothing but high blood pressure, migraines, and strokes. So for me, it's just circling your anger to where it belongs. It might belong over here. It might not be towards you. Maybe it should have been over there with that. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't. So to me, just to channel your inner being and make for sure you know how to handle your anger. Because I know I got too many times that I probably should have been in jail. Like literally. Because I've got to that point. Because I've had so much build up and I'm like, why does these people keep hurting me? When I don't do nothing but love, support them, no matter what. So for me, it's just channeling where your anger is to be. Stay in counseling, stay in therapy. I don't care what nobody say, and make sure you have somebody to vent to that you can trust.
Right.
That's not gonna repeat what you say.
That's a real one. And for my final thoughts, this was my topic that I kind of came up with, just like we've come up with together. And like Chef said, I can think back through my life and my path, and I've actually been arrested several times for assault and battery. Like I should have multiple felonies because my anger was that out of control, and thank God I don't. And I'm open and honest. I'm always open and honest when I talk because I do feel that me being honest about who I am and how I got to who I am can help other people understand their life and understand you can always change who you are. You don't have to start from where you started. It's not going to weigh you in. You know what I'm saying? Because that unfolds as you make your choices in life. But what I want to kind of focus on as I close out my thoughts with anger is you find that outlet, but also understand it's not a bad thing because that anger is being triggered by something. And if we dig
inside, once we find that trigger, is it get down to the root. Like you say, the trigger is at the end of the leaf. When you go down through the branch, through the trunk of the tree, you get to the root to the tree, you're gonna find that healing, and you'll find how to change that, and then you can control that anger. So I'm kind of sitting here thinking, and I'm looking at it, and I'm actually starting to appreciate it in this moment, because I'm understanding if I'm being triggered by it, that means something I still need to work on.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, and working on it, once I work on it and find that root, that won't be a trigger, because I've learned how to conquer that and heal it. So I also always try to find the positive,
Yes.
and not always the negative of it, you know, and that's my positive. I would say, you know, don't always run from the things or look at it as a negative way. Go into it and understand what is causing it. Find the root of it so you can change that tree, and now that fruit will be more positive instead of negative. And that's my thoughts for today. As I always say, love and light. I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to another edition of Goddess Stars. Catch us next week, 7 p.m., same time, same place.